Hello everyone, welcome to Summit IAS Academy. In this video, we will be looking to a small portion from the subject of geography. In UPSC Civil Service examination, every year around 60 marks are coming from geography for the mains. And for prelims, we are getting 5 to 10 questions every year from geography, and also questions are asked by mixing with the topic of environment. So today we will be seeing from a portion oceanography, that is oceanic salinity. We know that the ocean water consists of salt, different types of salts. Okay, for example, we know sodium chloride, magnesium sulfide. So there are around more than 50 types of salt which are dissolved in the oceanic water. So what are the source, or from where does this salt content comes to the oceanic water? So we can classify the source into three, or there are three sources mainly. There are several sources, but importantly we have three sources from which this ocean water is getting the salt content. One is we are having magma ejection at the bed of the ocean. So from the interior of Earth, we are having some salt content added to the water. Second, there are different flora and fauna, that is animals and plants which are living inside the ocean. When they are dead, the body decomposes, which adds salt to the oceanic water. And also there are meteors coming from the space which falls onto the water, that also adds the salt content. So that's about the salinity of water. So is the salinity same, or the concentration of salt same in each and every part of Earth? No, there are variations. The salt content in Arabian Sea is not as the salt content in Bay of Bengal. The concentration varies. So what are the factors affecting the distribution of salinity of oceanic water? Okay, so we can classify, or we can say there are major 5 factors which have the salinity. One is temperature, 2 is rainfall, 3 is river influx, 4 is oceanic currents, and 5 is continentality. I will repeat. 1 is temperature, 2 is rainfall, 3 is river influx, 4 is oceanic currents, and 5 is continentality. So we will see these factors one by one. How does ocean salinity varies with temperature, or how does temperature control the salt concentration of oceanic water? So will the salinity increase with this increase in temperature, or salinity decrease with increase in temperature? We can apply simple logic over here. Suppose we are taking a beaker, we are adding 1 liter of water to the beaker, and to that 1 liter of water we are adding 1 kilogram of salt. So we have a solution that is having 1 liter of water and 1 kilogram of salt dissolved in it. And suppose we are heating it, or we are giving temperature to it. What will happen? Yes, evaporation will take place. So the water gets evaporated and the salt gets deposited in the beaker. So we are applying heat so that around 500 ml of 1 liter from this 1 liter water is evaporated. So 500 ml is evaporated. So we are having 1 kilogram of salt dissolved in 500 ml of water. So see here, the salinity has increased, because initially we were having 1 kilogram of salt dissolved in 1 liter of water, but now we are having 1 kilogram of salt dissolved in 500 ml of water. So as temperature increases, salinity increases. We'll go to the second factor, that is rainfall. What happens when rainfall increases? How does the salinity varies with the rainfall? Even will the salinity will be more in rainfall rich region, or will the salinity will be less in the rainfall rich region? We will see. For that, we will take the same beaker. We will be adding 1 liter of water to it, and we will be adding 1 kilogram of salt to it. Rainfall means addition of water, isn't it? So when rain comes, the more water is added to the ocean. So similarly, here we will be adding 1 liter of water to that solution. So we are having 1 liter of water. To that we are again adding 1 liter of water. So we are having 2 liter of water dissolved, which is having 1 kilogram of salt dissolved. That means the salt concentration decreased, isn't it? So as rainfall increases, salt salinity decreases. That is the second factor. Moving on to the third factor, that is the river influx. River influx, we know that even though this river water is also saline, but compared to sea salinity, the river salinity is less. So river water is comparatively fresh water compared to the sea water. So the same effect as in the case of rainfall. As the river influx increases, salinity decreases. Now we will go to the fourth factor, that is oceanic currents. We will be studying in detail about oceanic currents in the coming videos of oceanography. But for this topic, let's understand that oceanic current means it is the movement of water or oceanic water from one place to another. It's having a particular mechanism for that movement that we will study in detail when we deal with the topic of oceanic currents. But just understand that oceanic currents is the movement of oceanic water from one place to another. Okay, so if you take the concept of Earth, we are having the northern hemisphere, we are having the southern hemisphere and the equator. So oceanic current is the movement of water, isn't it? So if the water movement is from equator to poles, we will be having warm current. We know that equator we are having higher temperature compared to poles, isn't it? So the water moving from equator to pole will be warm water, so it is known as warm current. Similarly, the water moving from poles to equator will be called as cold current, because we know that polar regions are colder compared to this equatorial region. So the water coming from poles will be cooler. So the oceanic currents moving from equator to poles will be warm current, and from poles to equator it will be cold current. So warm current increases the temperature, cold current decreases the temperature. When we discussed about the temperature, relation between the temperature and salinity, we have told that as temperature increases, salinity increases, isn't it? So the region having warm water will be more saline than region having cold water. So warm currents increases the salinity and cold current decreases salinity. That is the fourth factor. Now moving on to the fifth factor, that is the continentality. Continentality is the proximity of the ocean towards continents, or the extent of area of the ocean which is surrounded by continent. That is continentality. And in our basic science class we have studied that land get heated up faster compared to water, or continents get heated up faster compared to oceans, isn't it? So the oceanic body which is covered with more areas with continent will be warmer compared to an oceanic body having less coverage of continent over it, isn't it? So as continentality increases, temperature increases. So as temperature increases, salinity also increases. So these are the 5 factors upon which the salinity of oceanic water is depending upon. I will repeat it again: temperature, rainfall, river influx, oceanic currents and continentality. As temperature increases, salinity increases. As rainfall increases, salinity decreases. And in the case of river influx, as river influx increases, salinity decreases. And in the case of oceanic currents, if it is a warm current, salinity increases. If it's a cold current, salinity decreases. In the case of continentality, the more continental, or as the continentality increases, salinity increases. So these are the 5 important factors upon which salinity of ocean water is depending upon. So based on these 5 factors, we can assume, or we can calculate the salinity of different oceans. Okay, so according to these factors, the distribution of salinity is varying from one place to another. For example, the salinity of the equatorial water will be different from salinity of subtropical water. It will be different to the subpolar water, and it will be different in polar water. So there are different variations. So on these variations, we will be studying about the latitudinal variation of salinity. That is how salinity varies according to different latitudes. We will be studying hemispherical variation, how the salinity varies in southern hemisphere and northern hemisphere. And we will be studying some regional variations also. Regional variations means in the case of Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, both are in the same latitude. But it's the same region, but we are having some different salinity. So we will be studying all these in the coming videos. So these are the important factors of salinity. Okay, so we'll wind up the video. Thank you very much.